nagabuhaw yun mi og mga project. May tungod sa una, nadaghan ang kakulian sa among pagpamuyo. Tanan kalasangan, walay lubibisag isa. Tungod sa kagupot, ay nahiagom namo sa unang gera. Pagtuna ko, dili na may ngani. Gigiyahan ta Ginoo nga moabot sila.
Salamat kayo, Pastor, tungod sa imong gihimo dinhi sa amo sa Sitio Marang. Ang tanan tagat mga tao dinhi nagpasalamat kanimo tungod kay gihatagan nimo ang kahayag ang mga tao dinhi. Ikaw ang among suga na nakaabot dinhi nga para sa among kaugmaon ug ang among pagpuyo dinhi nga maayo.
Ako tayo nalipay ni kadaghan ini nadala. Sulan Rael, niya tubig, sus! Grabe nga, nahatag ninyo sa amo nga para sa kayuhan sa tribu diring Dapita.
So, mag-iusa ta atong suportahan ni nga project kay alang ni sa ato.
Pag-abot sa gugma, walay debate diha. Pag-abot sa gugma, way away diha, di ba? O pag-abot sa gugma, diha gyud ta magkausa.
Sitio Marang in Dato Davao Laak, Davao De Oro is a tiny hamlet that shares its borders with the barangay Kapda of the municipality of Loreto, Agusan del Sur, home of the Dibabawon and Manobo tribes. The history of the factions of the residents in this indigenous people's community are rooted mainly in the insurgency that buried them in poverty through the decades.
Maubitaw nga ang mga tao diri nagkahiwalay tungod sa una walay karsada, maglisod og panginabuhi. 2009, gubot pa kayo ni nga lugara tungod kay ang NPA pa ang naghatag og mga panggobyerno. Kung wala pasad mo alsa ang mga Manobo o mga tribo, siguro kani nga mga lugara din dili maatagan og mga improvement.
Ruben and Noli were former CPP, NPA, NDF rebels who returned to the fold of the law when they realized that they were just being used by the communist terrorist group. They joined the tribe's mass uprising, headed by their top gun Pagani or tribal warrior and chieftain Tato Pindoy Lope against the CPP, NPA, NDF in this mountainous area. Eventually, through the indigenous community's unity against insurgency, they gained the peace that they were longing for. It was only then that the government began build roads for them.
Tungod kay nangita og maayong panginabuhian. So karon nabalik ang tao diri tungod aning nanay karsada, so nagbalik og kahiusa.
But because of the distance, progress is still elusive for the Dibabawon, Manobo, Umayam, and other indigenous peoples in the area. Poverty has been their way of life ever since the elders of the tribes can remember. It's so remote that one has to go through a strenuous walk for 80 kilometers from Sitio Marang to the main road of the municipality for about 15 to 16 hours. The lucky ones who can afford to ride motorcycles travel a 4-hour drive on extremely rough roads when they transport products in the lowland, and another 4 hours back home. Ruben's eldest son Benji wants to become a teacher someday to help his fellow to learn. Instead of 5, they only spent 2 to 3 days of classes in this 3-classroom building.
Ang among maestra di kanhi kay layo. Ang kanang gasolina dili ra kakuan abot layo kayong lugar tapos dili sila kanhi ug mande.
Illiteracy is high among the indigenous peoples in this mountainous region, particularly those living in Marang. The access of even the most basic education for the IPs here has been few and far between through the decades. Adults like Nolly are banking their hopes on their children to break the chain of poverty through education.
Kami nga mga Manobo, wala mi alam, wala mi kasinatian o unsaon pag-establisar, kung unsaon pagpa-improve ang lugar, tungod kaya wala mi mga grado. Pagkakaroon na sa ila na, giingnan na nako sila, ako mga anak na, ako ni agi kog impi upat ka tuig, diya sa front 88. Karon giingnan nako akong mga anak nga, kana nga mga panginabuhi, kana nga mga isudlan nako, murag kung sakuan pa na, didto na sa mga yawanon nga mga bapaagi. Karon magbalik ta sa tiilan sa Dios.
Luoy mga bata kay mo kabo manggid sila kay ang mga ginikanan na mas uma. So siyempre sila mo adtog sapa asa ang sapa nga kabanan mao gid sila mo adto. Kahit bulan ma'am, kahit gabi pa basta kay walay tubig mapugos gyud.
The indigenous people hold a special place in the heart of Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, who has been tirelessly conducting various humanitarian efforts in all sectors of society for the years. In 2021, Pastor Apollo visited Davao De Oro and was warmly welcomed by the Dibabawon tribe, led by their leaders and tribal chieftain Dato Pindoy Lope, who offered a gift signifying their gratefulness to the good pastor for the help that he extended to them and his unending support for peace and order and community development projects in the IP communities in Mindanao.
Salamat po kaayo nga abot ka diri sa among clan para makatabang po dyan sa among mga kalambuan namin dyan nakita. Kami Russell, wala may
And the God in heaven heard their prayers. It was Pastor Apollo's unwavering support and service to the IP communities that made Mindanao tribal elders and leaders decide to confer to him the title Dato Pamulingan, which means one who possesses a discerning spirit and divine gift from God. Dato Pamulingan did not only give them one-time package of assistance and food that would tide them over for just a day, but a sustainable project that would assist the community and open up more opportunities for them to move beyond their poverty. And that was just the beginning of the sustainable projects that Pastor Apollo has envisioned for this community.
Natuman ragit ang isaad ni Pastor. Itong pagtukpan ni Pastor sa una diri, isaad yun siya nga, kani, tabangan yun nato ni nga lugar. So, okay, pangiyakan ta!
Ang isa nga nakita sa Ginoo sa inyo dinhi kana ganing pagbarog ninyo against sa kadautan. Mo nang ipanalanginan mo kay giingnan gyud daw nagisaad si ang amahan kay pastor nga sa tanan nga mudawat nimo ug sa imong ipadala panalanginan ko sila. Sinugdanan pa lang ni sa daghan pang panalangin.
As the beginning of long-term sustainable efforts to assist the indigenous peoples in Maranglaak, Dato Pamulingan, through the ACQ Solomonic Builders Development Corporation and the United Indigenous Peoples Heritage of the Philippines, built a basketball court for the people's recreation activities, a potable water system, and distributed construction materials for the tribal halls of Dato Davao. For the Marang residents, the building of a potable water system by the ACQ Solomonic Builders was God-sent.
Kaning tubig gipangandoy sa katawhan. Number 1, kalipay sa katawhan. Ang tubig kay, ang tubig may atong kinabuhi.
Nalipay ni kay nanay doon na tubig dyan sa aming lugar.
Basta kay nanamit tubig. Di na masuko akong mama kay nanamit tubig. Nanamit tarong na dilaan na basketballan.
Ang akong kalipay, gikan sa yuta, sangko sa langit,
tungod kay gihatagan ka ni Pastor Kibuloy o ginaani nga mga project o kaayuhan sa katawhan diri sa Marang.
For years, sports facilities for the young people and children were absent in Marang. Pastor Polo's gift of a cemented basketball court with a fiberglass basketball ring was the impetus they needed to start sports programs in Marang among the indigenous youth, in cooperation with the ACQ Solomonic builders. In a landmark moment, indigenous local officials from both barangays, Kapda and Marang, together with all the leaders of the different tribes living in the area, agreed to resolve conflicting issues for the sake of unity and progress.
Kapag kinabangay tanaw kanit ka lugar ta, nakita ta ka dyan na ita. Tabangan kita Diyos, tabangan kita Amahan, na para kapupol ka, sika kalambuang kanit ka lugar ta.
Ang akong kalipay, gikan sa yuta, sangko sa langit, tungod kay gihatagan ka ni Pastor Kibuloy o ginaani nga mga project o kaayuhan sa katawhan diri sa Marang.
Significantly, this very ground where the new basketball court and potable water system projects now stand used to be the central camp and training ground of the CPP, NPA, NDF in the area.
Sa una, kani diri, grabe pang kahoy, grabe nga kangit-ngit. Impi pa ang nagpusting di ana nga kana nga lugara. Karon kapag abot na sa panahon, nahimo na gid ni siya nga murag maayo na ang kuan tungod kay naana mo nya naana pud ang gihimo ni pastor nga simpre simbahan diha mao na ni siya ang mo hatagid sa amo og kahayag unsay maayo nga among buhaton. Sa una ngit-ngit pa ni diri, karon hayag na tungod kay niabot na gid ang mga hinabang sa uban nga mga tao para gid na ulambo o sinati po namo ang kahayahay.
On top of it all, Pastor Apollo still had a surprise, especially for the children on his birthday, a birthday celebration for all of these kids who had never celebrated their birthday before. Dibabawon, Manobo, Umayam, and other indigenous children, everything in their adopted birthday celebration was new and exciting. The games, the prizes. It was the first time they had ever seen so much food in their lives. A delicious meal for lunch, drinks, unlimited ice cream, candies, bread, and many other treats. There was so much excitement for the first giant birthday cake they ever had, the first birthday song they had sung for themselves, and the first birthday candles they had ever blown in their young lives. But nothing could ever beat the children's excitement and glee when the birthday presents from Pastor Apollo were given out, for most of them had never received presents before. During the festivities, medical volunteers also gave free medical checkup to the IPs. But even after the children and their families were still wrapped up in the warmth of the love they felt from Pastor Apollo Datu Pamulinan for the unexpected blessings they received, rubber sleepers, a necessity in a muddy, rough, and tropical landscape, were given out to the children.
Kasulti lang nako karon nga adlaw, murag natagan jud og kalipay ang tanan nga niabot si Pastor Kibuloy diri sa Sitio Marang, o natagan og kinabuhi ang mga bata diri o sa mga kauban lang gyapon sa mga ginikanan.
Pasalamatan ako siya. So, si Pastor Kibuloy nga naman sa akong nakita 100% ang kalipay sa mga tribo. Kay mo nang giinguna nga sukat-sukat wala man inahitabo diri. Si dato pa ang nakahimo ani nga ang mga tao sa nagkadaiyang mga sitio lugar ni agi diri, walay nakahimo nga uban. Kay dugay na ko diri ma'am, unya mao pa ni akong nasaksiyan.
Salamat po Pastor sa iyong ibanhatag nga regalo. O salamat po diay sa iyong ibanhatag nga gikawon SP. Hindi po yan ang mga kinog cake. Salamat kayo. Pagdako na ko gusto ko mahimong basketball player. Pastor Kibuloy, salamat. Kay naghimo kag basketballan. Nagpahimo ka kay para nami madulaan. Nalipay gid ko maayo kay naanay basketballan. Sa una pangan din namo karon iya tay sa Ginoo.
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, or Dato Pamulingan's divine wisdom from the Almighty Father and discernment for the struggles and needs of our indigenous brethren is a light that is now spreading throughout the Philippines. It has dissipated the clouds of oppression and poverty that have long settled over the ancestral domains of the indigenous peoples of our country. As a champion of peace, his generous spirit that comes from above automatically brings unity, righteousness, and progress. It has only been a year since the country's indigenous peoples have bequeathed Pastor Apollo as Dato Pamulingan, but the blessings to these indigenous communities are already overflowing and will do so until no one is left behind.